True stories told without a script. Our next storyteller is Martin Willis, who comes to us from South Africa in 1999, I believe. And he is the winner of our latest slam. He is a graduate from the University of Life. He says he's also a mechanical engineer. Martin, please come up.
Thank you, Sharon. Well, how do you top what Shelley has just done? I think I'm going to go right to the bar and have a beer. Sharon ruined half my introduction because I was going to tell you that if I sound a little strange, it's because I'm not from here. I'm from the South. I did spend about 6 years in Atlanta, and obviously about another 45 or so in South Africa, where I was born. On the same part. Not getting it right. Good. Well, if I thought 40 years ago I would have the tenacity and the chutzpah to stand up and address people, I would have said no, not at all. Because first and foremost, I'm a nerd. I'm the engineering guy that is happy with numbers, not happy with people, not happy speaking. And when Sharon heard this, she said, you have to wear your pocket protector. Now, I don't always wear a pocket protector, but when I go jogging, I normally do have a Parker rollable pen in my vest. I mean, the most ridiculous thing, but I feel naked without it. You know, this is how engineers are. I'm here tonight to talk about something that is actually a story, but it's very difficult for me to put this all together because I've never addressed an audience with this particular story. It's the quest for happiness. And you know, we teach our children how to tie their laces. We teach them how to ride a bicycle. We teach them not to pick their nose in public. And we teach them how to eat with eating utensils, although judging by most Americans, I don't know what happened to the knife. But, you know, I can't be too hard on the Americans because I'm an American citizen myself. Being born in Africa, that would make me an American African. It took a while for that one. The quest for happiness. You know, we learn all these things from our parents and our school teachers and our mentors, but no one teaches you how to be happy. So the boy's miserable. Buy him a new bicycle. You know, his girlfriend broke up with him. You know, increase his allowance. No one really knows, which is why no one has addressed how to be happy. Well, I didn't know I was unhappy until I was unhappy. And when I was happy, I didn't know what made me happy. And during the course of the last 40 years, being an engineer, you have to have a formula for everything. And I wrote down things that made me happy, and I read books. And you know, if someone has got just 3 ideas, he can write a book. He writes about 5 chapters that says, in this book, you will learn how to blah, 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 blah. And then somewhere in the middle, he has the 3 pearls of wisdom, neatly tucked away somewhere. You normally are blinking about to fall asleep when you read that, or you just gloss over it. And in the last 5 chapters, now that you have the skills that I've empowered you with, you are going to go forward and do whatever. Well, I didn't find these books very satisfying, and judging by the number of books of this genre that was on the shelf at the Goodwill store. I don't think anyone else found it very good. So I read all the books, and still this thing called happiness sort of fleeted in and out of my life. And I had reason to be unhappy. I've been married twice before. First time very, very happily. And regrettably, I was widowed when I was 31 with a car wreck, and I lost my wife, and my two boys were 2 and 4 years old. And people said, "Oh, you're so strong." I said, "No, cometh the hour, cometh the man. I think you would be strong. You don't know how deep you can dig when you need to." Well, within about a month of my wife dying and my boys dying, I said, I have to find a new mate in life. I just can't go on like this. So I wrote down a list of what I was looking for, and I wanted all the genetic stuff right, you know. I didn't want someone who's wearing glasses, because I'm going to end up with blind kids. So I interviewed all these girls and went on dates. It was actually quite fun. People said to me, I don't know how you have the strength to go on. I said, it's like a library book. I said, the book I was reading was thoroughly enjoyed. Unfortunately, it was late. I had to take it back to the library, and now I'm looking for another book. I need another book from the library. You know, they say when you get lemons, you make lemonade. And don't be fooled that life has a destination. It's a journey. The destination is we will all die. And if you live one day without enjoyment, that is a day lost. And you mustn't do things that are unenjoyable, like golf. My second wife, who was quite a thinker, she wasn't the love of my life like my first wife. She would commiserate with me about my level of golf. And people would say to me, Martin, we're putting a 4-ball together this weekend, won't you join us? And I would, before I could even answer, she would say, Martin, you cannot play golf. And the guys would look at me and say, are you going to let your wife talk to you like that? I said, she's not dictating what I may or may not do. She's just reminding me of my golfing ability. So I did the Forrest Gump thing. You know, I didn't really grow the long beard, but I went on the runs. I have probably run about 100 marathons. Some weekends I'd run 2. I'd run one in one city on a Saturday and one in another city on a Sunday. This took about 10 years, and many ultra marathons, lots of Ironmans, lots of kayaking down rivers, all sorts of really scary stuff. The endorphins were good. I have to tell you, endorphins are everything. Now, those of you that don't believe me how good endorphins are, I mean, you wake up in the morning with a hangover. What's the best cure for a hangover? A little bit of nookie. Now I must tell you, the reason that this works is contrary to what you think. You know, you think, well, I'm about to die, I have to repropagate the species before I die, so I better, you know, plant some seed. Well, this is not the case. The case is, you get good endorphins from sex. So, you get good endorphins from running, maybe even from public speaking, who knows. But you've got these little girls that go to the gym and they're really addicted to this. And they're getting the endorphins, even though they have to double park outside so that they can go inside and work out. But endorphins are great. And just like Forrest Gump, I did my time on the road. And the one evening I turned back after, we were on about a 20-mile run, just a training run. And I turned back, I went back to the club, and I sat in the bar. Very, very English type community, a lot of things go on in the bar. It's not a place for drunkards. You could order dinner there, and well, you could even have a cup of tea. And the guys came back from the run and they knew I was very good at fixing myself. I mean, if I cut myself, I'll give myself sutures. If I break a finger, I'll splint myself. I've discovered there's nothing I can't do, because that's what we're all given. We're all blessed with going out there and really doing our best. And the guys came back to me and they said, "Did you hurt yourself? Did you injure yourself tonight?" I said, "No, I've had enough." They said, "What do you mean?" I said, "That's it, my running days are done." And I went on and did something else. I've done motor racing. It took me about 24 years to recover from the loss of my first wife. And in the time sitting in the bar talking to the other runners that I ran with and the guys who were going through divorce, I realized I was actually better off being widowed than they were being divorced, because it was final. I knew exactly where I was. I wasn't alienated, denied. She died loving me. It was great, absolutely great. And I looked at these guys who were divorced and I thought, I hope that never happens to me. Well, sure enough, you know, everybody changes. The problem with men and women is the guy will date the girl, and she's the girl next door. And then she'll become the girlfriend, and the sweetheart, and then the fiancé. And then she'll become the wife, the mother, the soccer mom, the PTA representative, the grandmother, etc., all the way through her life. All these different stages. And the whole time she's married to this guy who thinks he's 24. So, it didn't last. Oh, we gave it 20 years, it didn't last. And I then went through the pains of my friends back when I was running and they were getting divorced, and I was comparing being widowed to divorced. And I realized that that was probably just as painful. So all of those of you out there that have been divorced, I have empathy for you. It wasn't easy. And I can tell you being widowed wasn't easy too. But have I enjoyed my life? Yes. Because I've always managed to find the best things in life. You know, I didn't have to read the same book my whole life. I got a chance to read 2 books, and I'm busy with the 3rd book at the moment. And as you can see, she's rather animated. Okay, the secrets of life. Now, we all know about furniture. Who of you have sat in a restaurant where the table rocks? Now, we've all come up with innovative ways of stopping the table rocking. You take the coaster and you fold it into 4 and you wedge it under, or you lean down heavily with your elbow, and then if you get up, the soup plate on the other side of the table goes all a kilter. 4 legs on a piece of furniture will never stand straight, but 3 will. Now, you get maybe a 2-legged piece of furniture. That won't stand up very well, and a 1-legged piece of furniture is going to fall over all the time. Like a monopod that you use on a camera, you have to hold it the whole time. It needs steadying. Now, there's 3 secrets to happiness. And being the engineer that I am, I took these secrets and I applied them to people, most obscure people. You always do that. You say, we'll prove this theory using ridiculous numbers, ridiculously large and ridiculously small, and then in the middle where you're normally working, this should be good. So I thought, well, who's the most strange person I know? And it was my sister. And is she happy? And the answer was yes. And I thought, well, let me apply the formula. Now, I have to tell you the formula. I'm sure you're all wondering what it is. Very, very simple. And I found these pearls of wisdom in the books that I read as a common string, a common denominator. The first one would be you have to enjoy what you do. Very, very, very important. I did a year at the Porsche dealer here in Colorado Springs selling cars, and I was pretty good at it. I was one of the top 12 salesmen in the USA, and they flew me to Spain and we raced cars around, and everyone was like, oh, wow, you've got the gift. But I hated it. The one doctor that had a Porsche, Lou Jenick, he's a chiropractor. You might know his wife. I think her name is Hai. Anyway, he said to me, Martin, you're in the wrong job. You have to get out of this business. It's killing you. You know the expression, it's a pain in the neck. Well, that's because you're tense. Everything you're doing is tensing you up. And you're not enjoying what you're doing. And I walked around with back problems, and I could hardly get into those little sports cars to drive the guys around the mountain and scare the heck out of them. But I had to get out of that job. And he said, I can fix your back. And here's another side story. How are we doing for time? Okay. So I have to get out of the job. So I got out of the job. And I went back into my roots, engineering, and I make parts for race cars. And I have a real fun time. It's like doing a hobby all day long. People pay me to do a hobby. People fly me to Texas to help race their old Formula One car. It's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Then the next thing is, so you have to enjoy what you do. Then you have to be loved. Without peer appreciation or someone to love you, and in some cases, like my sister, nobody loves her. I mean, she's got deadbeat children. She's got a brother in America who never calls her. So who the heck loves her? And I realized she's a very religious person, and God loves her. And she's happy with that. And then you have to love. And the same with my sister. When her husband died, she said, well, that's it, I'm done with men. So who's she loving? I mean, all her kids are deadbeat, you know, they're all freaky, and you know the problem, you know. Don't know how we brought them up like that. We maybe threw them up. But Joan loves her God. She loves her dog. She loves her grandchildren. And she's the happiest person I know. So once you've got these three things, and there's so many people out there that say, oh, I hate my job. Well, you'll never be happy. You might have a loving relationship at home, but if you don't love your job, if you don't enjoy your work, you're going to be unhappy. Or you get people who are just focused on their job above everything else. And their wife won't love them because, oh, he's at work again. So there's only two legs of the stool. Now that's a rocky relationship. You're not going to be happy. So if I'm running out of time, that's about it. I've given you the 3 pearls of wisdom. Enjoy.